Hello y'all and welcome back. So in this video we're going to address the question, why study ethics? And it's a valid question. Ethics is interesting, at least I think it's interesting, a lot of people agree with me, but it's not nursing, it's not engineering, it's not law enforcement or law, right? It's not going to get you a paycheck, it's not going to get you in shape, it's not going to find you a girlfriend, boyfriend, right? If you're into it, if you happen to be into it like I am, it's fine, but ultimately if you're not into it, why do it? I'll answer that question, but first I want you to look at that list that you wrote for your exercise discussion question, your ADQ, about the changes that you want to see in your life, okay? Now, as I record this, it's January. It's probably not January as you watch it, but it's January as I record it. It's cold in San Antonio, which is why I'm wearing the rare long sleeve for me. That's why I'm rocking the Bulgarian football manager look this morning. Okay, so New Year's resolutions just dropped. The gyms are full, right? Everyone's ready to change their lives. A little trivia for you, okay? Or a couple trivia questions. How well can you guess the top 5 most common New Year's resolutions made by Americans? I suspect these are fairly global, but made by Americans. Well, my guess is that you would be pretty good at guessing this because there's not a lot of surprises here. Number 1 is improve fitness. Pretty general, but that's how people are, right? Number 2, improve finances. Number 3, improve mental health. Usually there's some sort of like meditation or reading or journaling involved in that. Number 4, lose weight. And number 5, improve diet, right? So obviously 3 out of 5 of these are body related. It's really apropos of nothing, but just sort of interesting. Okay, and there's a lot of overlap with within these goals, right? And filling out the top 10, it's like spending more time with loved ones or friends and family, stopping smoking, picking up a new skill. Okay, so your list might look like this, it might not look like this. Okay, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because no matter what you wrote and no matter what anyone else wrote, every change that you want to see in your life is fundamentally a moral change. All change is moral change. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, let's back up for a second. Remember I said previously that ethics, what we're doing here, is the study of character, Greek word ethos, right? And character is a study of virtues and vices, right? Or character just is the collection of traits you have, some of which will be good virtues, some of which will be bad vices. Now, historically, the big 4 virtues are as follows. It's important to get this list. First, justice. So honesty, fair dealing, generally doing the right thing. 2, courage, which is sticking it under pain for the sake of a greater good. 3rd, self-control, saying no to the desire for short-term pleasure, whatever that might be. Okay? And 4th, wisdom, making good choices generally. Okay? Justice, courage, self-control, and wisdom. Now, these are by no means perfect definitions. They're just kind of rough and ready definitions, right? But they'll do for now. Now go back to these lists, okay, and let's look at the New Year's resolutions, okay, that we talked about. Here's another trivia. According to research, right, what percentage of New Year's resolutions survive past the month of January? So are still being actively maintained and pursued after February 1st, okay? Got your guess? All right, the answer is 5%. So 5% of New Year's resolutions survive out of the month of January, still being actively maintained and pursued. So 95% of all New Year's resolutions are completely done by the end of the first month of the year, and probably before the end of the first month of the year, right? And you don't need me to tell you why this is, or some psychologist or some random writing an article on the internet, right? Because we all know, because we've all lived human lives and we've all seen goals fail, okay? And the reason these New Year's resolutions fail is because they're really hard to keep. They all involve some measure of pain or effort or sacrifice, right? So you got this motivation at the beginning of the year, and then sooner or later the day comes, for me it's usually sooner, where you know you need to stop what you're doing and put your phone down and just like meditate or work on your finances or learn that language, or you need to get up off the couch and go to the gym, right? And you just don't want to. Like, it's just hard, right? When you start to do it, your body and brain are like, no. So you stop, okay? Now, what's failing here, right? When you fail to keep your resolution, when I fail to keep my resolution, what is that a failure of? That is clearly and unambiguously a failure of morality. It's a failure of one of these big virtues, okay? So when you don't stop and like put your phone down, okay, what is that, right? That's clearly a failure of self-control. The virtue that says no to short-term pleasure for the sake of some like goal down the road, right? It's also very closely related to self-control, this virtue of courage, right? Sticking it through some form of pain. I'm somebody, I don't have a lot of trouble with goals that involve being active. I'm pretty high energy, but my goals always involve like meditation, prayer, journaling, reading, anything that requires me to stop. My brain just starts screaming. I just don't like it. It's really hard, right? And for me to keep that, I need to have the courage to push through that pain, right? Usually mental pain, occasionally physical pain, right? So it requires courage. Finances, right? Improving your finances. What does that require? Wisdom, which can be cultivated, right? You can learn wisdom. You can't pick up intelligence. That's genetic, that's innate. But wisdom can be learned, right? Making wise choices with your finances. So all change, every change that you want to see, fitness, mental health, finances, relationships, whatever, okay, I could go way into this, is fundamentally a moral change. And we can go further, right? It's not just changes that you want to see in your life. It's also changes that you want to see in the world more generally. More equity, right? Less inequality, environmental justice, social justice, end to war, end to hunger, poverty, whatever. Ultimately, that is going to require that somebody out there improves morally, makes a moral change fundamentally. And if they don't make that moral change, nothing else will change. All change, aside from like change in the weather, okay, is ultimately a moral change. So when I say that ethics touches every area of your life, right, intersects every possible area of your life, this is what I mean, okay? Any change that you want to make, any improvement that you want to make in your life is ultimately going to start with you improving morally, okay? And you can say, well, I'm going to push and I'm going to use willpower and I'm going to do this and that, okay? That's fine. You can put your foot on the gas as hard as you want, okay? But if your character doesn't change, your willpower is not going to get you very far. If your foot is on the gas, right, you're not going to go anywhere if your other foot is also on the brake, right? And improving morally means changing yourself fundamentally so you take that other foot off the brake. You say, my motivation, my desire is going to, take us someplace, right, because my character is in line with my goals. Lots more to say here, lots of objections to entertain. I want to hear what you think about this, but I'm out of time. So that is our kind of fundamental warm-up module, our introductory module. In the next module, we're going to look at the person who invents ethics, my guy, Socrates. Thanks.